When I first took art history, a lot of the images in the art history book for the 1400s do center around Mary. It's Madonna and Child, and there's the Madonna and Child by Giotto, and then there's the Madonna and Child by Simone Martini, and then you see how the style, the Renaissance style, begins to evolve over this period of time when you compare these Marian images. So I expected when I went to Italy that I would see images of Mary because it is a Catholic country. But when I arrived and actually began to travel around, there were far more images of Mary than I ever expected, even knowing that it was a Catholic country. They are on street corners, on a pie on a house. You'll just have like a little niche with a Virgin Mary statue up on this, two floors up, and you think, how do they even get the flowers up there? And so certainly in the museums, but the things in the museums all came from somewhere. They came from a church, or they came from a guild hall, or from somebody's home. So as many images are in all the museums in Italy, as many images of Mary and the saints, they're in all the museums in the United States. And then there are still so many in all of the churches in all over Italy. So it's really mind-boggling, the number of paintings that must have been in Italy in the late Middle Ages and early Renaissance time, when you think about putting all of them back there. And then there must have been some that didn't make it also. And so many of them are either Mary with the child Jesus or images of the Annunciation. So when the angel Gabriel comes to Mary and tells her that she will bear a son, Jesus, and she says, how can this be? And may it be to me as you have said. This was really perplexing to me because, of course, what I'd been told was, at various points, was, Catholics overemphasize Mary, Protestants emphasize Jesus. And so, while it may not exactly be idolatrous, it's sort of a misplaced focus. Eventually, through my studies, which also include, I wish I knew how I first realized this, but an Annunciation as an altarpiece. So an altarpiece being a painting that is over the altar. We don't really have those anymore. So the angel Gabriel and Mary and the Holy Spirit dove, that is the moment of the incarnation. That is the moment where God comes to earth and becomes an embryo inside of Mary and becomes a physical presence. What is it that happens on the altar? It is the moment at the consecration where God comes to earth. Bread and wine becomes body and blood of Christ. It is the same thing that's happening. It's incarnate presence of God as he first came through Mary, and then as he now comes to us through the Eucharist. And so this is it. That's the essential of the faith right there. Those two moments. God came to earth to be with us, to suffer with us, and to save us. And he comes and he suffers and dies and rises again and saves us every day on the altar, still lives within us, and through the Eucharist. So I think that this encounter with Mary, there's many, many aspects of it, but realizing that when she appears with the angel Gabriel in those paintings, which were originally altarpieces, it's not about her at all. It's about Jesus. And that, of course, is the true teaching of the church, is Jesus came through Mary. We can come to Jesus through Mary also. She continues to be there to bring Jesus to us, to show Jesus to us. And as somebody that we can also in the same way talk to as a mother, she is mother of the church. She's mother of Jesus. The church is Jesus. The church is the body and blood of Christ. So in that way, yes, she's the mother of the church. So it's almost like a mathematical, logical, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. So it sounded weird to my Protestant ears to say Mary is the mother of the church. But once I realized, which I did know, but I just had never been exposed to this thought process before. Once I realized that if Jesus is the church and Mary's the mother of Jesus, then Mary's also the mother of the church. It was just not something that had been a part of my understanding of church before. And so those years, that first year studying in Italy, and then that first time back when I realized that I believed and that I would have to become Catholic because I didn't have the option anymore not to, realizing the truth that I had realized. Mary was an important part of that, and there's many, many different facets to her presence and to how that happened. But that, those two elements of incarnation in the Annunciation and in the Eucharist, and then her presence as mother of the church and mother of Christ are the two linchpins, I guess, of how I came to understand her.